Hello YouTube, welcome to Monday's edition of The Breakfast Club. Got that funk here, want to thank you for joining me. I wanted to respond to Kizzume Fowler's video yesterday, which was titled, How Do You Feel About Facebook? I've got pretty strong feelings about Facebook. I frankly, on the one hand, wish that I never had a Facebook. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But basically, how I feel about Facebook as an entity itself, regardless of the way people interact on Facebook. Facebook as a sort of internet entity is really disturbing to me for a lot of reasons. When Facebook first kicked off like 10, 11 years ago, whatever that was, their motto used to be free and always will be. And in the sense that they don't ask you for any money to have a Facebook page, and you don't have to pay a fee or a subscription or anything like that to use the site. So in a monetary sense, it's free. That's true. But it's not free. You pay for Facebook. You just don't pay for it with cash. They harvest an immense amount of data from you. Some of it you're aware of because if you've read the terms of service anyway, you'll know about how they share certain data with advertisers. But other things that is less widely known are the psychological profiles that Facebook builds up on its users over the course of the history of their Facebook page. One of the ways that they build up psychological profiles is by the like button. Now, once upon a time, for the first sort of 8 or 9 years of Facebook, if someone posted something and you wanted to show that person that you had read it, or if you wanted to show that person that you liked it, you would press the like button. But the like button was a little bit too limiting for a lot of people. For example, if someone was announcing the death of a loved one, it just didn't seem appropriate to push like to a posting like that. On the other hand, you wanted to let the person know that you had read the post, so you might leave a comment, or you might not know what to say in that circumstance, so you might not leave a comment, but you wish you could have let them know at least that you feel some sympathy or whatever. So about a year or a year and a half ago now, Facebook added other options besides like to the if you hover over the like button, it'll come up with like or love or happy or sad or angry or wow. I think those are your options. And what Facebook does, it monitors every single one of those that you click. If you click anything other than like, Facebook will note what post it was on, who posted it, what the topic was, and they'll try to build up a psychological profile on you based on the nature of things that you elaborate beyond just liking. When I read about this, when the new system first kicked off, I was like, well, you know what, I'm only ever going to press like from now on. And for the most part, that is exactly how I use it, if I use the like button at all. There are a few exceptions, like when someone posts a photograph of me with my kids, for example, I'm going to press the love button. That's fine. I don't mind if Facebook knows that I love my kids. But I don't use Facebook the way most people seem to use Facebook. I post things on there for other people to read. I very rarely ever look at what other people are writing on Facebook. Now that might seem incredibly arrogant, and in a sense it is a little bit aloof, I suppose. Mostly I use Facebook to private message people that I can't get a hold of in any other way. And I will post my little bits of inspiration or thoughts about what's going on in my life. It's exceedingly rare that I'll post anything of a political nature on Facebook, because I don't really want Facebook having too much ammunition when they're building up these profiles that they build up. I never actually wanted to sign up to Facebook in the first place. Back in the old days, I was a bit of a MySpace guy. I liked MySpace because you could customize the page, you could have music on your page, you could be anonymous, you could have an internet name if you wanted to, that kind of thing. But Facebook, the main reason I didn't want to start having a Facebook in the first place was because they insisted that you use your real name. And so I was having a conversation with one of the girls who worked for me at the time in my shop, and she's like, oh, I'll set a Facebook up for you, Paul. And I'm like, well, I'd rather you didn't, And I think she just thought that I didn't want to do it because I was too lazy. And so she set up my Facebook page for me. and presented it to me one day while we were at work. And I'm like, I thought I asked you not to do that. And she thought I was going to be happy. And, I didn't even use Facebook for the first 2.5 years that I had a Facebook page. I didn't see the point. But when MySpace was, basically 6 foot under, I did start to use my Facebook a little more often, and it's been especially utilized by me in the past sort of 4 years, excuse me, since I broke up with my last girlfriend. But again, I don't really interact on Facebook in the way that most people do. Now, in his video, Kizzume says, what about the social dynamics of Facebook insofar as, if people unfriend you because you're not interacting enough, or if you post political stuff that they might disagree with or whatever. I don't really have that problem. Everybody that I have friended on Facebook is a genuine friend of mine, and it's extremely rare that people unfriend me on Facebook. I suppose partly because I don't post an awful lot of political stuff on my Facebook, but nobody that I'm friends with is so small-minded that they would go, "You haven't liked any of my photographs, so I'm going to unfriend you." I don't live in that world, thank goodness, and I wouldn't want to. And quite frankly, if someone was prepared to unfriend me for such a thing like that, I'd feel like I was better off without that person in my Facebook feed. So there's that. Kizzume also mentioned other social media platforms like Google Plus and whatever. I suppose my Google Plus must still be active because I've never unactivated it. Once upon a time, about 4 or 5 years ago, Google just automatically made everybody with a YouTube channel have a Google Plus account. And at first I tried to figure it out, but I never really utilized it very much, and so it's just there. I'd never look at it, like, ever. For me, social media platforms rank in this order. I use 3 basically. I use Facebook, I use Twitter, and I use YouTube. YouTube is my favorite one, Twitter is my next favorite one, and Facebook I begrudgingly use. And I don't look at Facebook every single day. Pretty much only when I'm writing something on Facebook do I ever have a look at what people have liked or not liked on my page and whatever. And maybe once a month, if that, maybe once every 2 months even, I might look at the home page and scroll down like past 5 or 6 posts, but I don't really look at other people's stuff very often. That's not why I'm on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook to socialize in that sense. That's what I'm doing on YouTube, that's what I do on Twitter, but it's not really what I do on Facebook. Facebook for me is like my internet address where people can get a hold of me if they have to. Having said that, I tend not to friend people I know from YouTube on Facebook. I try to keep the two things separate. I'm not so averse to mixing up my Twitter and my YouTube as I am with my Facebook and my YouTube. And there are some exceptions. I mean, I definitely have a couple dozen friends from YouTube friended on Facebook. Almost without exception, those are people who I've either met in person or used to hang out with me for hours and hours and hours back when I used to hold long-ass blog TV sessions in the good old days when the internet was still fun. So yeah, Facebook to me is really insidious. The data harvesting that they do, the thing is, you don't necessarily know what is in your psychological profile that they're building up. You can guess based on what you think they're deriving from what you're putting on there, but you can't actually know. I don't even think that you can demand to see it. And isn't that a problem? Isn't that a little bit just kind of creepy and insidious? I think it is. And I also don't like the fact that you don't know what they do with it, and the entities with whom they share these details, you don't know what they do with it. Last but not least, I just want to say that the creator of Facebook, Mr. Zuckerberg, is, I think I'm right in remembering, he's the 4th richest man in the world. I think his fortune is estimated at something like $78 billion, which is an awful lot of money. That's more money than anybody could literally ever spend in a lifetime. I find it appalling because even if Zuckerberg lost half of that fortune, which would be what, $39 billion, he would still be in the top 10 richest men in the world. I think the accumulation of wealth for the sake of accumulation of wealth is a bad thing, and that's perhaps a topic for a different video. But I can't help but think about it when I think about Facebook, because this guy's initiative and his creative idea has made him successful beyond the dreams of avarice. And I don't begrudge anybody their success, and I just certainly don't begrudge anybody getting rich. But I do think, like I said the other week, that I think there should be a limit on how rich you can get. If you literally can amass so much money that you couldn't spend it in your lifetime, you got too much money. By definition, you got more than you need by definition, because you can't spend it. So there's that. Anyway, I don't want to get lost on that track of thought in the comments section. Let's keep it to social media and the good, the bad, and the ugly as regards that. I look forward to hearing what you've got to say downstairs in the comments section. Sister Danger should be here for tomorrow's video on The Breakfast Club, and I'll see you again next Monday. Thanks for watching. May all your ups and downs be ups.